It's another day in one-man garage. This is the Edelbrock 800 AVS1 carburetor I've removed from the 454 C10 because we are putting the good Quadrajet back on. This one here, which the old C396 manifold is square pattern only but has the double set of holes. So we invert the spread bore to square bore open adapter, and you have to find some hex bolts 5/16 course or fine, depending on the nuts you put on top, and put the bolts upside down that are long enough to pass through the Quadrajet gasket and Quadrajet top, and then use the cap screw Allen head 5/16 going down into the manifold. And this one has some weak threads here and there, so I'm actually using a slightly longer bolt to go in the manifold. Won't be long before this manifold needs to come off and probably get some helicoils. I want to refurbish it. That's just like the old vintage first generation Edelbrock. It's just kind of cool. But I have an iron Quadrajet manifold, a 68 style, the tall one that I may finish doing a plenum modification to, and could end up being a permanent manifold later. But we'll start off with this because we got that tight 10-inch converter in there now. So, and we've had this set up on here before. Actually, it ran 830 also, but it wasn't on here long. But it did run the best mile per hour at 84 in the 8th. I think that 800 Edelbrock's gone 83.5, so it's close. Obviously, the engine likes an 800 CFM carburetor, but the way that other one's been acting, it's been having some transition stumbles that I just won't have that problem with the Quadrajet because it uses a vacuum pull off and spring tension to slow the secondaries during the hit. So we'll continue. And by the way, just for the noobs, when you're doing anything into the aluminum manifold or in carburetor in general, I always just palm the ratchet right over the extension. Do not use the handle at all. You just need to use a little wrist twist torque without the leverage of the handle. You break stuff or pull threads. You can break carburetor bases and just torque stuff evenly, just very lightly across from one another, four corners, and progressively kind of watch how it's squishing down the gasket, and just be real gentle with it, because you pull that handle and you're putting too much force, you're going to tear something up. Oh, and here's what we're going to use for our throttle bracket. My spare 70 Oldsmobile Cutlass throttle bracket actually lays across the inverted bolts that are basically rear studs for that Quadrajet. So I got the carb sitting on there. Got the good Earl's clamp, bought at Summit, not those old style gate screw clamps that aren't smooth anymore, don't work good. I'm gonna have to buy some more of these. These are real smooth operating, stainless steel without the little holes. I think it's a way better screw clamp. But see, I had butchered up some other brackets trying to use it with the Edelbrock, and when you go to the two holes, it's gonna keep, there's no pivoting of trying to have the one bracket, and whatever. Pretty handy, just sharing that. If you run across stuff like this in the junkyard, grab it. If you're gonna run a Quadrajet on Chevrolet or Hot Rod or anything, it'll lay over the back real nice. I always consider getting some nice new grade 8 hardware. Probably paid too much for these little Dormans, but man, when you don't have the nuts you need to get a job done, well, you just can't get the job done. So get your nuts right. Remember what I said about getting some nice new grade 8 hardware? Yeah, I already had these, but yeah, they were fine thread, -24, not -18. But I might go to the store later for more bolts, but I scrounged through all my multiple disorganized locations of used stuff and found what I needed. Already got the front on. The bolts are like 4-inch. Probably could stand to be 4 1/4 with the thick gasket, but I guess if I had the thin Quadrajet gasket, I could have used a washer, but the carburetor's already scarred up more than Joaquin Phoenix's face, so we're just going to use the washers on the back. those other two and snug that, and this will be close to firing up time. The PCV is not hooked up right now, but we're still going to fire it up. Well, there she blows. We'll do some test driving and check it out a little bit later. Well, went out for the test drive, and no bog, nothing but tire smoke. Even from a high-speed roll, after cleaning off the tires, it just smoked them from like a 30 roll. So it's working good. I was wanting to go to the track yesterday, but the weather was crummy and everybody was headed out of town. So maybe in the next week or two we can catch a Sunday at Extreme Raceway Park and see if we can get that new A2 ET. Check in later. Thanks.